Welcome to Beyond the Surface, the podcast. From the ancient practice to its modern day symbolism, we dive beyond tattooing and its connection to our inner selves. I'm your host, Caroline. Welcome. Hello, beautiful soul, and welcome to the first episode of Beyond the Surface, the podcast. This is a podcast where we dive beyond the surface of tattoos and really look into the deeper meaning behind them other than just them being ink on our skin. This episode is kind of just a welcome episode for you to get to know me and get to know what I'm about and what you can expect from this podcast. My name is Caroline, and you may know me as Miss Kali Tattoos, where I create delicate fine line ornaments and my signature flow line tattoos that are all about the energy of life. You may also know me from the Nordic Yogi, which is my other business, where I share about holistic health and holistic health products and just in general holistic mindfulness. Now, you also may just know me as Caroline. I am 25 years old as of now, and I was born and raised in Denmark. I have always been a creative person. I have always made DIY projects and just in general loved being a creative person, creating whatever I can with whatever I have at the moment. And I really wanted to create this podcast because ever since I started my spiritual journey in 2018, it was also kind of where I got my first tattoo and started to realize how important tattoos can be. If you don't know me, and you know me from my tattoo experience, like my tattoo journey as a tattoo artist, I haven't always liked tattoos. In fact, I really disliked them up until I got my first one, really. So to kind of backtrack a little bit, I had a girlfriend from my school when I was about 19 years old who asked me if I wanted to join her for a yoga class at our local gym because she didn't want to go alone. And initially I didn't want to go because I was pretty much against yoga. I didn't really believe in it. I've never really been a spiritual person as of, going to a yoga class, but I wanted to support her and I went to my first Ashtanga yoga class. And for some reason, I absolutely loved it. It was the best ever. I had a really amazing teacher and I started my own spiritual path. Now, I did go very heavily into it. I started, I would say when I was 19, and then after about 2 or 3 months, I really went into spirituality. I meditated every morning. I did my Ashtanga primary series almost every day, and I really enjoyed it. And after some time, actually only about 6 months, I decided I was going to go to India to get my own yoga certification. So as a 19-year-old girl, I went on a solo trip to Rishikesh in India and got my Hatha Ashtanga yoga teacher training. And this course just changed my life completely. I became the person I felt like I was always meant to be. And on this trip, after being there for about a month, I had connected with a beautiful, beautiful soul, which I would now say is my soulmate. Her name is Ruby, and she is just the best of the best. And after connecting for about a month, she did the training as well. We was at an end where I was about to go home. She was about to continue her travels. And we kind of connected over tattoos. And there was a tattoo studio just down the road from our yoga shala and our ashram. And we were like, okay, let's do it. Now, I've been brought up in a very conservative home with, politics and being very conservative, being a nice girl. So tattoos have never been my style. I've kind of copied the saying of you don't put a sticker on a Bentley. And for some reason, I was like, you know what the heck? I'm out traveling. I'm living my life. And so I got my first ever tattoo honoring my dad, which is a saying he always told me when I was a kid. And it is so hum, which is Sanskrit. And it essentially means so is on like the inhale and hum is the exhale. But it also means I am a part of the universe and the universe is a part of me. And as I was getting this tattoo, it's very small on my right arm. And as I was getting it, I realized how much I had changed through my spirituality and how open I'd become. Because I was very judgmental when I was younger. And I just realized I'd gone from a very conservative judgmental girl to becoming this open and just more free and spiritual woman. I very much felt like it was just like a breakthrough for me getting my first tattoo, because it just meant so much more than just getting a tattoo. And it just all connected to me not even knowing what it meant when I was a kid, and then getting it, and I told them what I wanted to get. They said, like the tattoo artist said, oh my God, that's a Sanskrit saying. And it was just like a cycle coming back to the starting point, which meant a lot to me. So at that moment when I got my first tattoo in India, I really realized, oh my God, there's so much to this practice than just getting something like getting some ink in your skin. And so you can kind of say I really got into tattoos. At that point, I think I said, I told myself what everybody who gets their first tattoo says, and that is, this is the only one. I'm just going to get one and then that's fine. But of course that didn't happen. I got into the art of self-expression. I really loved and enjoyed looking for new tattoos and finding tattoos that really mean a lot to me. Not necessarily because they have to have a deep meaning, but they need to represent what I see myself as. Like they need to represent what I see my soul as and what I see the energy I want to give out to the world. And I got a few more tattoos and then continued my travels, backpacked around the world, and had been to a lot of countries. My whole identity basically lies in traveling. It is what I love the most in the world, and me backpacking alone is my single favorite thing in the world. So after getting a few tattoos, after traveling for a long time, living in Australia, I got home and my life just really turned upside down. I got into some stuff that I really didn't like, and I just became this very different person than the one that I discovered in India, the person that I knew I was to the core. And I just kind of floated around for a bit. And then when I was, I think 23, I thought, you know what? I have studied at the university. I studied Italian. And I, of course, dropped out because it wasn't me. But I had this realization of, I've always been a creative person. I have always loved creating art, and I want to get back to my spirituality. And this idea of me tattooing kind of planted a seed in my head. And so I got accepted into the classical drawing school in Copenhagen and went there for, I can't remember, about 6 months. And I kind of learned the technical aspects of drawing, because up until then I had just always been creative. I just wanted to create something, and I never knew that there were certain rules that you could follow to really make your art pop. So I finished the classical drawing school, and then I got my first apprenticeship at a tattoo shop. Like, so lucky, and to this day I'm so grateful that my journey has been fairly easy. So when I got my apprenticeship, I started getting into tattooing. I had some really amazing mentors that have helped me start my journey. So when I started my tattoo journey, I of course had to create a name for my tattoo page, and the name was Miss Carly Tattoos. And you might be wondering why I've chosen that name, and I'm gonna tell you why, because this is the key to my whole journey as a spiritual seeker and a tattoo artist. So when I was backpacking in Australia, I heard this mantra, which is Om Krim Kalikaye Namaha. And it is Sanskrit, and it honors a Hindu goddess that is called Kali. And I've had many spiritual experiences in my life, I would say, but for some reason, when I heard this mantra, I could feel an energy just build up in my body. And I actually got her tattooed on my right arm. I am absolutely in love with the goddess Kali. She is representative of death and darkness and time, but not in the sense of she's like a goddess of the dead people. She is the goddess that removes all evil, and she's this fierce, feminine, raging goddess who just embodies everything that we, at least I think of when I think of raw feminine power. And the meaning of her has just been deep rooted in me for a long time, many, many years. And I don't even know how to explain it. I would recommend you look her up and dive into what she stands for. Anyways, I've always been very connected to her ever since I learned about her, and I've realized that a lot of the yantras, so in yoga we have different patterns like sacred geometry, and I've learned that a yantra, which is called the Sri yantra, and the one yantra that I just absolutely love, that apparently she's the goddess of, as well as tantric practices. She's the goddess of that too, and just everything's been aligned with her, and she's just given me immense strength. So she's the goddess that I pray to whenever I want to talk to the higher consciousness. So of course, when starting out as a tattoo artist, wanting to celebrate and honor the goddess that I believe in, of course I was going to be called Miss Carly Tattoos. So a lot of my tattoos, and the idea behind me starting my tattoo journey, was that I want to show people and remind people how big of an energy that tattoos can hold and how strong of an impact they can have on your life. Most of my tattoos I actually use actively. I have my the two eyes in the palms of each of my hands that I use every time I meditate, and I want to really share with you all that you can use your tattoos and not only the tattoos themselves, but the experience when getting a tattoo, how much energy there's actually in it. And I also want to share all the different cultures that have tattoos as a really important cultural ceremonial aspect to the culture itself, because in many different cultures still to this day, getting a tattoo is a really big thing. It's either when you become an adult or you get married or you give birth that you get different markings on your body symbolizing this, and it is all around the world, and it is so beautiful. Now, I'm not saying tattoos cannot have a meaning. That is not what I'm saying at all. I just want you to know how much power there is. And even if it's just a fun tattoo, like I have tattoos from when I was backpacking with a girlfriend in Southeast Asia, and we were super drunk and we got one. So you can get one for fun as well. As long as, for me, if you have a tattoo that's just for fun, when you look at it, it still holds an energy. You get reminded of the experience. You get reminded of how fun it was, or if it was a bad experience, and just the moment that you have around it. So yes, I definitely believe there's a lot of energy in tattoos. And so combining my work and my spirituality, I just cannot separate those two, because as a tattoo artist and a spiritual seeker, this just combines and boils down to me having spent years exploring the deeper meanings behind the ink we wear on our skin. And I want to go beyond the surface of that, and I want to join the conversation about the tattoos that we wear on our skin. And I am so grateful that you want to join me on this one. It is so weird having started a podcast, but I took up the challenge from my mentor. And of course, we are so many people, we have so much on our heart that we want to share with the world. And that's why I've also created a community for us on Facebook. And I'm going to link it in the description so that you can join as well. But it's just Beyond the Surface, the community on Facebook. And I want you to join and really share anything you might have. This group is going to be a really safe space for everybody to come on and share photos of their tattoos and their experience, or questions they have, or their spiritual journey, just anything really that goes beyond the surface of tattoos, and just really feeling safe, having a community that you can talk to, that won't judge you, that won't give nasty comments, because oh my god, the internet nowadays. So yeah, join us on Facebook, Beyond the Surface, the community, and stay updated on social media. It's just Beyond the Surface, the podcast, on every platform. If you have any questions to me, you can message me on the podcast Instagram, or you can send me a message on my tattoo page, which is Miss Carly Tattoos. I am so grateful to have had the honor of welcoming you to the first ever episode of Beyond the Surface, the podcast. This is such an honor. It is a crazy journey, and I could never have believed that I would be here right now, sharing all of this with you and living the dream of combining tattoos and spirituality. So thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a wonderful day. If you feel kind, please give it a review, give it a thumbs up, follow the podcast so you never miss an episode. Thank you so much for supporting me. I could not have done this without any of my fellow friends and followers and just lovely souls out there supporting me. And if you ever want to join the conversation, again, go to the Facebook community or let me know on Instagram. Thank you so much.